So in this video we will study about the electrolysis and electrolytic cells. So electrolytic cells are used electrical energy to produce chemical energy. So far we have seen in the galvanic cell that we are doing the spontaneous chemical reactions to produce the electric current, and in case of electrolysis or electrolytic cell it is just opposite. We apply the electrical energy to produce chemical changes. And what is the definition of electrolysis? Electrolysis means involve forcing a current through a cell to produce a chemical change for which the cell potential is negative. So for here, in case of electrolysis, cell potential remain negative, and electro means electron or current, and lysis means breaking. So we are breaking the chemical through current, right? And one more in another way we can say that electrolysis is a process of passing an electrical current through an ionic solution. This is another way to define the electrolysis: passing electric current through an ionic solution or molten salt to produce the chemical changes. And electrolytic cells there are two type of electrolytic cells. Electrolytic cells are divided into two categories based on the nature of the electrode used. Number one is passive electrode, number two is active electrode. So we'll study one by one. And passive electrode is the electrode are chemically inert material that simply provide the path of electron. So in passive electrode, electrodes are chemically inert electrode, and in case of active electrode, the electrodes are part of the chemical reactions, right? So we'll see in little bit more detail about these, but before that let's talk about more about the electrolysis and polarity. Electrolysis changes the polarity of the electrodes in the system. So in case of electrolysis, the polarity of electrode changes from positive to negative. For reduction, electrodes are forced to cathode. The cathode become the negative electrode. It is just opposite of the galvanic cell. Oxidation. For oxidation, electrons are pulled from anode. The anode become positive electrode. So in electrolysis, an external source of current drive a redox reaction that would otherwise not be spontaneous. The flow of ions through the solution complete the circuit. So this is shown, this picture shows the electrolysis or electrolytic cell. So here I have another slide which will be easy to understand the comparison between these two. So this is the galvanic cell where we have anode negative sign and cathode is positive sign. Electrons are flowing from anode to cathode, and we are generating the current from the chemical reaction. And in case of electrolysis, electrolytic cell, it is just opposite. So we are applying the current. So power source, here you can see this is the electron flow, this is the voltmeter. In between the two electrodes are connected, or two half cells are connected by the wire, and this wire have a bulb or voltmeter that will give the reading about the current. But in case of electrolytic cell, rather than in bulb or voltmeter, we apply the power source here to provide the current. And so here you can see zinc was anode and negative sign, but here zinc become cathode with the negative sign, and copper was cathode with positive sign, copper become anode with positive sign. So only cathode and anode changes, and their sign also. Here cathode is positive, here cathode is negative. Here anode is negative, here anode is positive. So this is the main difference between the galvanic cell and electrolytic cell happen. So now we will talk about a little bit more about the passive electrolysis, where we use the inert electrodes. So passive electrolysis meaning, finally example is like refining of aluminum. So electrolysis provide the means to overcome the non-spontaneous reactions to separate aluminum from its oxide. So in case of electrolysis, we provide current to force non-spontaneous process, and we use this non-spontaneous process to purify aluminum from its oxide or from its ore. The Hart-Heroult refining process uses carbon electrode as inert site. So they use carbon electrodes. So these are the carbon electrodes for passive electrolysis. So here we use ore of aluminum ore, and we apply the current, and this container is also act as another electrode, and we purify aluminum from ore to pure aluminum. So pure aluminum is the bottom, which is like a product. Another is important thing is active electrolysis. So active electrolysis or electroplating, where the electrodes are also taking part of the electrolytic cell. So the process of depositing a thin coat of metal on another metal by using electrolysis is called electroplating. So this is an electroplating. What is the meaning of electroplating? The process of depositing a thin coat of metal on another metal by using electrolysis is called electroplating. In some cases, the thin coating of cosmetic or to provide some vital functionality for the coated piece, such as corrosion resistance, desirable conductive properties. So coating we apply to either protect the material from corrosion or to get the protective properties, or we also coat like a silver and gold on the ornament. That is also through the active electrolysis. Silver is plated on the electrical devices because silver is a good conductor and resistance to corrosion. The solution from which the silver is plated contains cyanide ion in aqueous solution, which form a complex with the silver ion. The need for the uniform coating make this an important step. So we'll see a little bit more about the silver coating in case of electroplating. So silver coating is here. The object being electroplated serve as a cathode, and at the anode silver solid goes into silver ion, means oxidation reaction happen, and at cathode silver ion deposit onto the another electrode or another material. So the object being electroplated serve as a cathode. Opposite reaction at the anode and cathode are common for the electroplating process operations. So opposite reactions of what? Opposite reaction of galvanic cells. Silver is transferred from anode to cathode, coating this cathode in a thin layer of silver, and the zero cell potential is not critical since the external current drive the electrolysis. And this here one more slide that shows that barrel plating is often used apply coating of small parts. So here this picture is showing that how coating is used by this is a DC source of current is applying here, and then we are forcing non-spontaneous reaction to happen, and any object which is immersed inside, that will be coated with the chemical required. So in this way we understand what is the electrolysis, what is the difference between the electrolysis and galvanic cell, and what are the types of electrolysis, passive and active. And then next video will solve some questions related to electrolysis.